Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emma the Cat Lady, and we are here in Far Harbour on the island. We're going to talk about some soft drink sabotage. So, the subject for today's Wasteland biography is a person called Aubrey Copeland. So, who knew that the soft drink industry could be so cutthroat? Nuka-Cola is the largest soft drink company in Fallout's world, and they do not like competition. Aubrey Copeland is an employee of Nuka-Cola Corporation, and they worked very, very hard to sabotage Vim, which is a competitor for the most popular soft drink in the state of Maine. Vim Pop was popular locally, but not known nationwide like Nuka-Cola is. Kind of like how Iron Brew is the most popular soft drink here in Scotland, while Coca-Cola products win pretty much everywhere else. We don't really know much about Aubrey. The name is gender neutral and we have no voice recordings to confirm, but they do take advantage of their contact within Vim having a crush on them, which is a woman named Madison Young, who works for Vim Pop but is tempted into corporate espionage. So what's the deal between the two companies? Essentially both Vim Pop and Nuka-Cola came out with new flavours named Quartz, and ended up in a trademark battle which Vim Pop lost, unsurprisingly given how big a corporation Nuka-Cola is. So Vernon Conroy was sent to approach Vim Pop about a deal to buy out their company. The CEO, Doyle Reed, whose family started the business, was having none of it. So while exploring the Vim Pop factory, we can read through some terminals which indicate that the company was facing some issues that separately don't really mean much, but taken together can be indicative of deliberate sabotage. So this email here, we're being attacked. Mr. Reed, I know you told everyone in the monthly meeting that the troubles in distribution, as you put it, are just coincidences, but with respect, sir, you're wrong. This isn't just a couple of random muggings or thefts. Our trucks have been stolen, shot up, our drivers jumped, even the machine technicians are reporting weird stuff. This isn't just bad luck, this is some kind of attack on the company. If you can't do something about this, we're going to start losing staff. From Willis Rudd, who has worked for the company for a very long time. So this email was sent to Doyle Reed, the CEO. So what's actually been happening? Well, if we head to an unmarked location called the Basement Armoury, which is a hatch that's hidden at the back of a fuel station southeast of the Radiant Crest Shrine, and inside we can find a terminal, some chemistry equipment and a missile launcher. We'll get back to that one. So this is Aubrey's location where they concocted their plans to sabotage Vim Pop. So phase 1 involves reducing confidence in the company, so they would put out of order signs on vending machines, tainted bottles were sent to stores, and posters were covered by Nuka-Cola ones. They also recruited an employee to begin what amounts to corporate espionage, which was Madison Young. So Madison was regularly meeting and working with Aubrey and trying to pressurise Doyle Reed into selling out. And then phase 2 was an escalation of this, involving attacks on Vim employees and damaging equipment like their delivery trucks, which would eat into their bottom line. It cost money for repairs and replacements and things. This is going to put more economic pressure on the company and reduce confidence in the company from their investors. Aubrey also wanted to get details of who the investors were so that she could pass them along to Vernon Conroy, who is attempting to get a deal for Nuka-Cola to have controlling interest in the company. So incidents that happened include an altercation at a local bar where a woman essentially punched one of Vim Pop's employees, and he reflexively returned the blow according to witnesses, but it still affected the company's reputation and caused some issues. A truck had its tyres shot out, and even their special branded suit of power armour was stolen, which was part of their ambassador programme, which you can read about on the terminals. This programme was a marketing project where they would travel to towns wearing branded power armour and hand out bottles of Vim Pop and the different flavours. And if you look at the terminal for that, you can actually get the paint schematics for your own power armour if you want to apply that. Then that gives you an option at the factory. And while this was all going on, the company was in the running for the official soda of the state of Maine, and this sabotage was causing difficulties, so the decision was made to develop a new flavour. So the R&D department were put under pressure to develop this new flavour that embodies the taste of Maine, which, as it turns out, includes fiddleheads and lobster shells, along with aster extract for some reason. But apparently it tested well, people seemed to like it. It did cause weird smelling sweat, but it calmed down freshly caught lobsters and stopped them from attacking. So the Captain's Blend was to be rolled out. So upon learning about this new flavour, Aubrey wanted to get hold of the recipe, and they put pressure on Madison Young to find it. Madison failed to do so, but was close when she questioned why the researcher Iris Mason spent $10,000 at the fish market for soda. So she hoped that this would be the ticket to getting that recipe, and Aubrey also hoped that Vernon Conroy would be able to convince one of the investors to sell their stock to Nuka-Cola. So when the air raid sirens went off, Aubrey figured it was a false alarm and decided this was the perfect cover to directly attack the factory with a missile launcher. That was the plan. One assumes that the nukes stopped them in their tracks, as the missile launcher is still there in this basement armoury. There's also chemistry equipment and bottles of the Captain's Blend at the armoury that suggest Aubrey was trying to reverse engineer the formula. Unsurprisingly, formulas and recipes to these popular trademarked products like soft drinks are very carefully guarded. We know that in the real world. There was a story back in 2006 where a Coca-Cola employee approached PepsiCo with some secret documents and samples of unreleased products looking for $1.5 million. And Pepsi responded by notifying Coca-Cola, and they got the FBI involved to set up a sting operation to catch these people. So even though Coca-Cola and Pepsi are direct competitors, they weren't having any of this buying secret samples and secret documents from their competitor. So they let Coca-Cola know, and they dealt with that situation. So interesting little story there. And Aubrey's attempts at this kind of sabotage were obviously a lot more dangerous, attacking the trucks and employees, shooting out the tyres. You know, if anyone's ever had a burst tyre when they've been driving, it's quite a scary experience, because you can easily lose control of the vehicle if a tyre goes, and, you know, a stray bullet ricocheting and that kind of thing. And then they knocked out the driver to steal the power armour. It's just so much kind of danger that there was no consideration for the fact that people could literally get killed or injured in this whole thing, all for the sake of acquiring a small local competitor that would probably never stand against Nuka-Cola on the national scale. But like many of these massive corporations, especially the ones in the Fallout world that care little for ethics, morals or good business practices, they want a monopoly, which means they control a huge share of the market, if not all of it. And we know that Nuka-Cola did this as well in the West when they made a bid for Sunset Sarsaparilla, and when that failed, Nuka-Cola created Nuka-Cola Wild, which is a root beer-like drink, in order to basically compete with Sunset Sarsaparilla. So we know that, you know, working for Nuka-Cola doesn't seem to be a fun place to work, with the horrendous workers' rights and things like that. But there's obviously this very kind of cutthroat attempt to gain a monopoly on the soft drink industry in North America. And Aubrey Copeland was behind that in terms of trying to acquire Vim Pop so that they could have control of the market in Maine as well. And definitely an interesting way of approaching the problem, I think. So yeah, a very interesting little story that you can piece together by working your way through. If you look at some of the terminal entries, and then, you know, the sort of safe house, it's an unmarked location, it's not very easy to find. I actually spent 10 minutes wandering around looking for it to find the information. But yeah, it's a very interesting one. And Aubrey and Madison would meet up at the bowling alley as well, so I think you can, I don't know if you can find anything about them there, but that was apparently where they like to meet, was at the bowling alley. So very interesting little story you can discover there. Is this one that you knew about? Have you found this yourself? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.